All right, so now we're going to get to what is perhaps the most powerful concept, the most ubiquitous concept, and the most difficult concept to face head on. As somebody who's been teaching this for like 15 years, studying it for 20, I still find myself dealing with this issue constantly, right? And that is the issue of sunk costs. So sunk costs are specific types of costs. So 3 equal signs means defined as, right? These are the costs incurred in the past and cannot be recovered. Can't go back. The moving finger writes and having writ moves on. Neither all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears will wash away a word of it. Omar Khayyam, the Rubaiyat, right? So they've been talking about this stuff for millennia, but it is still something that is constantly encountered in economic thinking and investing, in just your day-to-day life, right? Oh, I filled up my gas tank and now the price of gas has gone down, right? Or, oh, I didn't buy that thing when it was on sale and I should have. There's so much of this stuff that we do that is just unproductive thinking. And economics is about thinking on the margin. It's about thinking about where you are right now and the actions you can actually take today. It's not about relitigating the past. It's not about criticizing and analyzing your behavior. There is some of that, but it's about focusing on the future. Don't take your sunk costs into consideration when making future decisions. So firms find this very difficult as well, right? They spend all this time developing this new project, this new drug or whatever the case may be, right? Billions of dollars on it. And then, all of a sudden the side effects are, everybody's hair falls out. So, crap, right? What do we do? Well, you have to look at those billions of dollars, and like a lot of money, as a sunk cost. You can't get it back. You've already spent it. And that's part of the reason why prescription drugs cost so much, is because there's like $10 billion failures of sunk costs for every $1 billion success story that we find, not to be an apologist for the pharmaceutical industry, which, also has rampant profit taking and things like that, right? But there is some truth to that excuse for their high prices. So sunk costs are hard to deal with. They're hard to deal with on a personal level. Like, let's say you graduate college, right? Now, college makes sense because, again, like, it's a job signal. Like, even if you hate what you're learning, it still makes sense to just finish and get the damn degree because you'll make more money, right? At the end of the day. But let's say that you were going to law school, right? You're going to law school, you spend a year of money and time in law school, and you realize you hate not just being a lawyer, but you hate dealing with contracts and just law in general, and you don't want to do it at all. Well, when you're figuring that decision out, you need to not think about the past year and the money you spent on that last year. You need to think about going forward. Well, okay, if I spend this next year, what's the likelihood of me getting a job that's going to use this law degree in a way that I'm going to be happy, right? And I'm not going to hate my life. And then the other thing too that you have to think about, and this is something that I was never told and I never thought about until I already got there. So here's me passing some wisdom on to you all. But there is a thing called overqualify. So if you have a law degree and you want a job that takes an undergraduate degree, they're probably not going to hire you, even though you have an undergraduate degree. I mean, part of that has to do with there's a lot of bias against lawyers, and people just don't want lawyers hanging out if they don't need them, right? But it's the same with having a PhD in economics. Like, you would think, oh, PhD in economics would make you very qualified for some jobs that you would be able to get with just an undergraduate degree in economics. Aha, not so. Not so. I'm overqualified, so I can't actually get those jobs. So there are actually people that will leave their graduate degrees off of their resumes when they're applying to certain jobs, so they don't appear overqualified and get discriminated against as a result. So again, when you're thinking about these decisions, there's a lot of different factors, right? So if you're in the law school decision, part of it is, am I going to be overqualified for the jobs that I want? Now, all this to be say that the qualifying part of all this, qualify my qualifiers, even if you hate being a lawyer, a law degree, just like an undergraduate degree, is a very valuable resource to have. And a lot of people with law degrees don't practice law. They work in other capacities at corporations and things like that and make very good money. A lot of agents in Hollywoods have law degrees because they're all constantly doing contract negotiations and things like that, right? So all that to be said, this is why President Harry Truman used to yell, "Give me a one-armed economist," because our economists are always like, well, on the one hand this, on the other hand this, on the one hand this, on the other hand this, right? So constantly trying to give you both sides of the issue, which can be frustrating. Just as frustrating as sunk costs. So the lesson from sunk costs is to ignore your past mistakes. And make decisions based on what will happen in the future. You know, oh damn, you missed out on the NVIDIA stock market rally, right? With the AI chips and how that stock's been going crazy and just like the buoy of a lot of people's portfolios and a lot of traders, right? Or you missed this recent, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, crypto all-time high, right? Like can't go back in time. You have to ignore those past mistakes and then make decisions on what you think is going to happen in the future. Do you think, you know, NVIDIA is still going to be able to sell a bunch of graphics cards and this AI, you know, kind of wave is going to be sustainable, or is it just a bubble, right? Same thing can be asked about, you know, cryptocurrency and the value that's being, you know, created on chain there and the companies and the ecosystems that are being developed there, right? So it's about not about what you missed or what you spent money on that lost money. It's about going forward, what do you think the good investments are based on what will happen in the future, not based on what happened in the past, or specifically what your emotional attachment to what happened in the past is.